Welcome to Driveway Garage. Today I'm not working on a car, I'm working on my front porch. It was getting a little spongy, and then I went on vacation for 3 weeks, and my wife and stepson were home and told me that basically it was just breaking. So let me show it to you. So my stepson and I spent yesterday fixing the porch. So you can see what it looks like now. Now it's not completely done. I still have to get the siding back on the wall over there, and then I'm going to do some caulking, and I've got to get the Trex floor boards down and get the little brackets that hold those in. Now there's little spacers that go in between each one. You can see one right there. This is what they look like. They go in between the Trex boards like this, and there's a screw goes in the middle, and it holds the two pieces together. So I wasn't sure what the deal was, but I could tell when I got back, and I'll post a picture of that. This corner was basically just falling down, and I'll pull those Trex boards off and show you what I did to fix it. But in order to fix it, first I had to take the Trex boards off so I could get to it, and then that involved taking my railing off over here, which is sitting right there, and I had to take the post off to get the railing out. And I couldn't remember, it's been a few years since I built this porch, how everything went together, but this thing in the back here bolts down to the porch. Pull it out of there and show it to you. So that part bolts down. There's 4 bolts that go in there, and then this slides down, and I put a screw in here to hold it. Then the 4x4 plastic post goes over the top of that, and then your railing has these brackets that screw into here, top and bottom, and then they've got these little white plastic clips to cover the screw holes. See if I can find one here. So those slide into that hole, and they're son of a gun to get out. You have to use a razor knife or a really small knife and just slowly pry them out a little bit. Once you get them out far enough, I grabbed them with some needle nose pliers. I'd take 8 of those out of there, and then I could get the railing off. And basically there's floor joists under the porch here running. There's 6 of them, and then they had hangers. See, is that board still here? Oh, threw it away. Anyway, the board that they were attached to was good, but they had ran this siding down all the way like this, and then they'd put a board over the top of it, and then they put hangers on it and built the porch from there. Well, moisture got in behind there, and you can see this stuff is just that chipboard right there. So the piece underneath the door all the way, 1 foot wide and 4 foot across, was just rotting. So they'd only nailed the board, which I'll show you. They only nailed it into the siding. So when it started rotting, it just started falling off. So the 2x8s or 2x6s, whatever they were just falling away from the house. Everything was just collapsing. So let me pause this, get the Trex boards out of the way, and show you what we're looking at. And I'm only making this video, not really how to build a porch, but how I fix my porch. Also, just, to encourage anybody, instead of spending $500 to $1,000 to have a contractor come over and do it, maybe you can just do it yourself. It's really not that hard. Some hand tools. I used a skill saw. I used my socket set, hammer, cordless drill, just a few things like that. It's not really complicated. It just takes time. And yesterday in the afternoon it was over 100 degrees. Fortunately, this is all in the shade most of the day, but when it finally got into the sun, it was like 110 in this corner. It was hot, so we finally quit. I said, I'll just finish it today. It's only about 70 some this morning, so it's nice. Let me get those Trex boards out of there and I'll show you how that's built. So here's what we're looking at. Now I got a couple of awnings given to me for tearing them down several years ago. So I just saved the wood and actually built an awning in the back. And this was some leftover wood. That's what I built this deck out of. And the board that was falling off was where this one on the back is. So I found this one. It's pretty straight and flat. So I put that on here. And instead of just nailing it, I put some 5-inch lag bolts into it. And so, what did I put? Five bolts across. So now those are bolted in to the floor joist of the house. So now this thing won't fall off of here. Now, what I have left to do is finish getting my hangers where I want them. This is just temporary. You can see the gap there. I'm going to tighten those up, put more screws into them. And the way these things work, down here, the bottom of it, these just wrap around the joist and they support it there. And I'll tighten these up closer to it by moving those screws. I just put them here kind of loose so we could get this set back in place, because I didn't take the whole porch apart. I only took it apart as far as you can see here. And I had 2 screws, actually only one of them was in over here, and it was down at the bottom, because when I built this, I put that board on first and then this board. Well, I couldn't get that screw out. We tried 90-degree drills, everything, couldn't get the screw out. Finally, I hand cut it with a hacksaw blade from the top and the bottom. I was able to get into this slot on the side there just enough. That was a lot of work. But now I'm going to finish putting these joist hangers where they belong. They're in the right position, but they're just a little sloppy right now. I'll tighten those up, and then I have to get this piece of siding in. And I bought siding. I was going to run it, put 2 more pieces all the way down, but I decided that I didn't want to do that, because I don't want this board bolted to the siding. And this, I get a lot more solid fit, and I can put caulk along the top there. And once I get the siding on and caulk it and paint it, then we're not going to have moisture getting in behind the door anymore and rotting everything away. And this one, you can see the saw mark there. I just ran my circular saw down there, set it on about 1/2 inch, and then I tore out that rotten piece, and it was already seamed right there, so that worked out good. So it was 1 foot by 4 foot. I got a 2 foot by 4 foot piece from Home Depot, had them slice it in half. I patched that in. Now this porch, it is rock solid. I didn't even notice before that it wasn't that strong. I didn't realize they had just nailed it. And, 3-inch nails going into siding, that's going to take up at least 1 inch, and then into flake board, so they never were nailed into anything super solid. It should have been built more like this, and then the siding should have been brought down to the top of it, like I'm going to do. And it should probably have some kind of tar paper or plastic or something even in behind that beam, or that joist there, to keep the water off the flake board, but I'm going to caulk it up really good. I also had a piece of trim board on here. You can see it, the white one with the bolt sticking out. That was keeping us from sliding it back into place after I rebuilt it. We were trying to figure out, why won't it go back that extra 1/2 inch? Well, I took the trim piece off, then we got it to slide in. Now the way I built this, it was hung over there with the floor joist, and then out here it's got an end cap on it, you can see. But when I built it, I put a couple 4x4s down to the concrete to support this end of it. So that's what keeps this in solid. And then I made it so that step will slide under there just enough to help support it too. So This porch used to be about half this size, and it had steps. It was just kind of awkward getting in and out. So I decided when it was needing repairs, I would double the size of it. So I brought it all the way out here, which is about 8 feet. And then I put the side rail on it, just make it look better. When it's all put back together, we have this patio chairs and table sitting up there. It looks nice. What else can I tell you? So this is the siding board that came off of it that was down below. It's just that cheap flake board stuff, like sawdust. You can see how it was decomposing. That was right underneath the door. And the moisture got in behind there and rotted the flake board. So I bought some more of this siding. And this one, I'll probably save it because it's in pretty good shape. I'll just cut the nails off, put that back in place, and then maybe piece a piece underneath the door there. I think I'm gonna have to do that. Get rid of as much of that gap as I can before I caulk it and paint it. I damaged the side here a little bit, trying to get the porch out. I've got to fix that. I'm probably just going to, I don't know, maybe put some kind of outdoor spackling on it. Try to blend it in. I painted this when we first moved here because it was tan. It was 25-year-old original paint. Maybe it was 20 years old, but it was ugly. So I painted it, but I managed to throw away the bucket that the paint came in because it froze, and I never kept a record of it. And I've been trying to rematch it from Home Depot, and I haven't had very good luck. Oh, my wife told me one of these brackets fell off. I can see what she was talking about. One of those wrought iron brackets that hold the flower pot was there, and it just fell off. I got to fix that. Anyway, if you have a project like this, don't be afraid to tackle it. You probably learn something, unless you do this kind of stuff for a living. In my case, it was just a repair, not a complete rebuild. But even then, there's videos on YouTube you can watch on how to do this stuff. You might have to buy a few tools, but it's cheaper than hiring a contractor. So now my porch, when I walked out this morning and last night, I noticed even with the Trex laying there loose, it is solid as a rock now. There's no give to it at all. So it's going to be 10 times better than it was originally. And maybe it'll last 50 years. Who knows? Thanks for watching. Hope I kind of covered everything. Now, I just got to do the reverse order of trimming around the door. And then I've got to make sure I have all the little brackets, put the Trex back in place. Since we changed the location by about an inch, I may have to do some trimming on my Trex because it's got to fit around the corner trim there. Otherwise, I could take and cut that off with the handsaw. Notch it 1 inch so the Trex just fits right there, but I'll probably just notch the Trex again like I did before. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope this helps somebody out. I know it's not a really super thorough video, but it does cover the basics of what I did to fix this porch that was basically falling off the wall. And I should have just told him to quit using the front door, because when I got home from my 3-week visit with my son, there's only a couple joists in the corner that are holding it. The rest of it was kind of free floating. So I did have them I thought one of the joists in the center was breaking, so I told him just throw a piece of plywood on it so you don't fall through the porch. I didn't realize the whole thing was just falling off of the wall. But anyway, once we took the Trex off, we figured that out. Oh, I was going to tell you, in order to make this happen, we got the Trex pulled back that far, and then we dropped in these concrete blocks that I had, and we put 2x4s across them, and we put the deck joists on those, and that's what supported it. And then we were able to slide the deck back a couple of feet so we had room to work. And then when we got all done, we raised it up with some 4x4s, which are no longer here. I threw them out back. We got it up high enough that we could just slide the whole thing back into place, and then we lifted it by hand and dropped it into the joist. And now, of course, I'll finish that project up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope this helps you out a little bit. And I guess I'll try to get this button back up before it gets too hot. Thanks again. Well, we got her finished up and all back together. All I have to do is do some caulking at the bottom of the door. Got the railing back up, and this thing is solid as a rock. It's amazing. It must have been getting weaker and weaker as we went, and as time went on, you know, then it finally got to the breaking point where it was just collapsing. But right now, you can walk up on this thing and there's no give to it at all. So it's nice to have it done. Thanks again for watching.